Hello, everyone. Welcome to the entrepreneurial series. If you're tuning in on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, drop a quick comment. Let us know where you're watching us from. I'm your host, Ajiria Libo, and I'm excited because today's conversation is going to be full of growth, leadership, and financial insight. This series is built on one simple truth: nothing works without somebody at work. Success doesn't happen by accident, it happens when people show up. They develop themselves and they lead with purpose. And today I'm joined with someone who has been doing exactly that from a young age. I'm so impressed with you, Rory. Our guest today entered the financial services industry at just the age of 19. And over the last 4 years, his focus has been on growth and not just only business, but also on his character, leadership, and helping people build confidence, real confidence around money and their future. Even this morning, he has been in several meetings already before we started this program today. So, wherever you're watching from today, you're in for a great conversation. Please help me welcome Rory Seawald. Rory, thank you for being a part of our meeting today. But
It, it, it's a pleasure to be here, Jerry. Thank you for having me.
awesome, awesome, awesome. I have a quick question, Rory, and before we jump in, um, because I know you're someone who is always on the move, right? It's either you're traveling from this place to this place. I saw you the last time in Toronto, right? If you get value from this conversation at any point, before we start talking to Rory, please drop a comment because we want more entrepreneurs to be part of this whole thing. And you will listen to Rory and hear what Rory has to say because his story is really inspiring. So, to start out, Rory, um, and for everyone watching, who is Rory? Let's get to know you.
Yeah,
What do
absolutely.
you
We can jump
do?
into that. First of all, I just want to say, Jerry, watching your videos, I've learned so much from you, and seeing you finally in person in Toronto 2 weeks ago was just an absolute honor. I look up to you as a distant mentor and now a close friend, which I'm honored to say that as well. So thank you again. Um,
Thank you.
my name is Rory Seawald, and I joined the industry at 19, Jerry, and you might be thinking, gosh, that's a little bit young to get started in the financial services industry. And, when we look at the financial services industry, people think of, 50, 55 years old, gray hair. They don't think of the 19-year-old kid that can't even grow facial hair. um, I got into the industry because I wanted to help people and change people's lives. I loved money. I've been making money, on my own, self-employed since 14 years old, and
Wow.
I just wanted to learn how it actually worked behind the scenes, and that's where it really what led me here today, and to be here with you today, here, Jury, is that same passion. That passion drives me every single day.
That's unbelievable. Since 14, what were you doing at 14 when you started making money?
Well, at 14 years old, I didn't have a license, but I could buy a car for cheap and I could sell a car and make money. So
Wow.
doing that with trailers and boats, and it kind of just built up from there. Uh, you know, the more people you meet, the more deals you find, the more things just happen in your life, and the more experiences. So yes, I'm 23 now, but I do feel like I've had a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of experiences, in a short period of time, which I'm very grateful for. And I've seen my parents be entrepreneurs and my grandparents be entrepreneurs. I'm sitting in my grandparents' office right now
Oh,
because
wow.
we just finished up a client meeting this
Wow.
morning. So it's
Wow.
it's it's a, it's in the family.
That's really fantastic. But what really inspired you to step into the financial services industry so early?
Yeah. I knew that the power of compound interest, not just on your money, but also in
Mhm.
yourself. I think what's we look at the rule 72.
Mhm.
That's something that we've dropped the ball on, just as a community in the world. I was just speaking at my Mayo school. So my junior high school, a jury that I went to school at, I spoke at their staff meeting to all the teachers that taught me. And
Wow.
going over the rule of 72. Some of those people, this is my passion. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Wow.
Some
Wow.
of those people are in their 70s and 80s, have never seen the rule of 72 before, and don't have money for retirement.
Wow. Wow. So it means that lots of people are financially illiterate in Canada and all over the world, right?
That's true. So many
Wow.
people. It's not
Wow.
taught in school, and it should be.
Wow. Wow. You said something that really struck me. You said you entered into the financial industry because you wanted to understand how money really works, a rule of 72. But what did you discover that most people are never taught about money?
Yeah, I mean, the rule of 72 is the biggest one, in my opinion. I talk about that every single day. Um, Also, the difference between mortgage life insurance owned by the bank and an individually owned policy, right? There's a lot of simple and basic things that you and I, Jerry, we're in the industry, we think it's very basic, but to the majority and the vast majority of the population in Canada and the United States, it's foreign language. So
I
how
agree.
can we make these basic things more recognized and make people aware?
Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. Everyone watching, if that resonates with you, drop a yes in the comments. Because uh, every day, right, we come across people, Rory, and what you've just said is something really outstanding because there are lots of people out there who don't know nothing about money. They earn, they pay the bills, and that's all they do when it as regards money. But I'm happy you took this responsibility to come into this industry and to reach out to people. But um, at a young age, 19, right, when you came into the industry, how did people perceive you? Like when you approached people, what was the feeling you had, and how did people really perceive you? Were people like looking at you that you're so young, you can't give them value, or how was it for you as a 19-year-old?
Yeah. That's a really important question, I think, because I want more young people to join this industry, as I'm sure you do as well, because we need more people. Um, I struggled, like for the first 2 years, I did not know how to overcome that objection, a jury.
Mm,
Getting that objection, and in my head, I'm thinking they're judging me, and that's not a good approach and mindset to have
mm,
in business and in life, because you shouldn't worry about what other people think of you. But how I overcame that specific realization is, if you want to work with someone, you want to work with someone younger than you, especially in the life insurance industry,
mm.
because if they're the same age or older, they probably realistically aren't going to be in the industry, or they may not be around when you need the most. So I saw that as an opportunity to flip the script. And that is the approach, I think more young people should be taking. Not to discredit, obviously, you know, your life insurance is
Older people
important.
like
Doesn't, you know
us.
what I'm saying? I don't want to be offensive to anybody here, but that's a different approach I don't think a lot of people have thought about.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. Sometimes you need a younger advisor who will be there when you're no longer there to at least to make the claims if possible and to run around when you
I'm
really
close to
need
the edge
them.
right now, aren't I? I don't want to push myself off.
I agree. But when it comes to finance, Rory, it's often viewed as just numbers. But clearly, you've seen that it's beyond numbers. So why is it that helping people get this result in their life is so important to you, and it's just far beyond numbers for you? Why?
Yeah. Honestly, like, I'm not doing this for the money. And it's not because I have a lot of money yet. Trust me. It's like starting, in the beginning stages of this amazing career. Um, Money aside, I want to see more people just be more happy.
Hmm.
There's so much financial stress. and when we can make decisions and help our clients and lead with our heart, not our, wallet, we're going to have a bigger impact, and we're always going to be doing what's right. So from, we were just talking about leadership. Leadership has a lot to do with this industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think people don't give that, aspect of this industry enough credit, because we need to do what's right for the client, which means understanding leadership. And leadership, there's three main categories for leadership. There's, you've got to be task oriented, which means actually getting things done, following through, sending that follow-up email that you promised the client to send,
Mm-hmm.
right? Build your character. Character has a lot to do with this business. And then lastly is relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You need to enjoy talking to people.
I love that. Character, relationship, task oriented, because it summarizes leadership in these three ways. And it's a lot of responsibility, but we're thankful to all our mentors who have been ahead of us, show us the way to go in this business and hold our hands in many ways. That's why I'm really excited about what we do in the industry, right? But Rory, you've been in the business for 4 years. Looking back, what has been the biggest lesson this industry has taught you?
Yeah. There's a saying I heard, recently, and it stuck with me. I'm never going to forget this. Stay small enough, long enough, and you'll be big enough soon enough. I see a lot of people trying to rush this.
Rory, say that again. Say that again. I'm going to take you back. Say that again.
I'll say it again because it's very important. It's such a good saying.
Slowly.
The saying is, stay small enough, long enough, and you'll be big enough soon enough. When you're rushing things, that's when mistakes are made. When you're rushing things, that's when your character and your leadership ability isn't going to be able to keep up to the amount of money you're making. You're gonna lose respect of money. Yeah. I can honestly say, I will never lose, respect of money, because I value my core values more than any dollar amount.
Yeah, that's really powerful, Rory. And it's not about the money, it's about the impact, what you're doing. And that's why growth is very important in what we do. But you emphasize growth and not just business, but also character. But why do you believe personal growth is just as important as professional growth?
Yeah. Well, you're never going to out earn as much as, I think the universe says you're capable of handling. And the bigger the problems you're able to solve, the more value you're able to bring to the marketplace, I think you're going to get rewarded on the back end. The people that make the most amounts of money help the most people fix the biggest problems. That's just the way business works, I think. So, to do that, we have to improve ourselves. We have to get better ourselves. Because if we're continue, fixing small problems and on a small scale, we probably aren't going to see the results on the back end. But let's, we got to develop ourselves.
Awesome. We have Henry in the chat. Henry said, stay small long enough so you will be big long enough. So he summarized what you just said. But quick reminder to everyone who is watching, if you know someone who needs to hear this conversation, don't forget to share it right now. So all right, Rory, let's keep going. I know that we had a few conversations when I met you in Toronto, and you said that you had a goal that is simple, and your goal is to become a better leader every day, right? But what does leadership mean to you right now?
Yeah, there's two definitions I'm going to share with you, and if it's all right, I wrote them down because I want it to be exact.
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes,
Okay.
Rory. I'm taking notes. Yeah.
The very first definition: leadership is the influence of others in a productive, vision-driven direction, and is done through the example, conviction, and character of the leader. Chris Brady and Orrin Woodward put that definition together.
Wow.
The second definition is something I shared in Toronto, is when a person or a group of people come together and have the courage to combat the status quo and turn good things into great things or bad things into great things. That's leadership.
Wow. Wow. Wow, that's really powerful. Rory, you're dropping nuggets. Are you guys picking down what Rory is dropping? He's dropping nuggets, right? You just have to pick it up, right? And Rory, you use the phrase leading people with original character. What does original character really mean to you, especially in today's world?
Yeah. Most importantly, money will never supersede values. One of the speakers at the Toronto event said that, and I align with that 100%. Money can never supersede your values in doing what's right. What happens behind the curtain will always be exposed. So
Absolutely.
I shared this as well. Three ways of looking at leadership, and this is how you gauge your leadership ability. Are you honeable? These are the 3 H's. Are you honeable? Are you hungry? And are you honorable? It really comes down to those 3: hunger, honeable, and honorable.
The 3H. Yeah. Hunger, honorable. That's awesome. Right. The 3H. So there's so many people who feel overwhelmed or even uncertain when it comes to finances, Rory. And I love what you just said about leadership and character. But what's the first step in helping someone build confidence around money? You mentioned you spoke in your high school. There are people who are in their 70s who do not even understand how money works. But what's the first step if someone is listening to us out there today, and the person needs to take the first step concerning building confidence around money and their future? What would you tell them?
One word: clarity. So clarity has a lot to do. You think of a business plan, you think of a life plan, think of a financial plan. What is the goal? The reason why me and my team and a lot of people write down their goals on an annual basis and quarterly basis is because they need clarity in their life. So when I ask clients, that's the very first thing I ask them. What do you want? Like, what is your goal? And then we can structure recommendations and we can go over education. That's the second step, by the way. Once you understand that, what's the education behind that? I brought a whiteboard here next to me because I'm a visual learner. I'm a visual teacher. I know you're the exact same, but you're a senior videos.
I am.
People
I
learn
am.
visually.
I am. I love to see. I'm a visual trainer too. I love that about you, Rory. I see most of your trainings, and that's really fantastic. I 100% agree with you. 100%. But clarity is the key, because if you don't know what you're saving for, if you don't know what you're investing for, then you will never know when you get there. I agree. But Rory, to close us out on the main questions, what bigger vision are you building toward? And what encouragement would you give someone listening today who wants to grow financially and personally? They want to be like you, right? What big advice will you give that person today?
Yeah. So the meaning, and this is in a book, a John Wooden book. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The meaning of life is to find your gift, but the purpose of life is to give it away. I'll say that again. The meaning of life is to find your gift, but the purpose of life is to give it away.
Oh.
There's 5 levels of influence, and this is why I'm so attached to this and all this leadership talk. You might be thinking, this is a lot of leadership talk. Leadership has a lot to do with it. First, you got to be willing to learn. That's the very first step of influence. Then you got to be willing to perform. It's the second level. Then lead. then build leaders. And then the fifth level of influence is build builders of leaders. Ajuri, you and I both know it's so rare to come across, human beings that are level 5 influence, and you see it. I see it clearly. I can think of like 3 people that I just know and am, familiar with that has that level of influence. Shouldn't we be striving for that? Like,
Yeah.
isn't that the goal for everybody?
Yeah. 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 100%. I love that. The meaning of life is to find your giftings, right? And also giving it back is your true purpose. That's really fantastic, Rory. Like, you've blown my mind this morning. And Rory, to everyone who is watching, right, as and listening to you this morning, how can they stay connected with you? How can people reach you, follow you, understand your journey, connect with you? If they have questions, they want to get to know what you do, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. It's Rory Seawalt for all of the platforms. Feel free to DM me. I'm an open book. I am always in communication, trying to collaborate with other people in the industry, not even necessarily my own MGA. It's just because, there's a saying in the team where it's collaboration over competition. And I just want to highlight, I don't think you give yourself enough credit here, Jury, because we look at what we just talked about, all the things that we just discussed. What you do for the life insurance industry, especially Canadians, is put that information and push it into the marketplace. It doesn't matter what company, it doesn't matter who you're working with. I know with Jury, you want to see other people win. You and I got the same, vision and just core values of wanting to push value people. And that's what I admire most about you, brother.
Thank you so much, Rory. I really appreciate your kind words. Our goal here is to help more and more people have better financial clarity. Because when it comes to money decision, right, most people don't understand where to put their money, what to do with their money, and they end up, you know, um, regretting. But we're trying to create a generation that this can create wealth, and that's why I'm aligning with your philosophy, Rory. And I want to say thank you once again for joining. I truly appreciate your leadership, your character, and the work you're doing in this space. And I know you will stay long in the industry. And to everyone watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, I want to say thank you for being a part of today's episode. Rory, do you have any last words before we round up?
I actually have a question for you, brother. Is that all right?
All right.
You asked me this question. You asked me what am I most passionate about, in the work I'm doing today. But what drives the Jury, to do this and push so much value into the marketplace? What drives you, brother?
I'll tell you, there are two main reasons. The first reason is I want to see people succeed, especially those in the life insurance industry. I want to see them succeed because I see a lot of insurance agents struggle, and my goal is how can you succeed in your business? Not just because success is defined by money, but the more successful we are in what we do, the more impact we have on Canadians, right? The more people make better decisions, the more people are protected, the more the next generation can have hope because we are preserving the wealth of the next generation. So that's what drives me every day. So I don't really care what company you belong to. I don't care where you come from. My goal is if I can help you, I will help you. I'm not bothered about all of those things because I believe something, Rory. Nothing works until somebody is at work. And that's why I do what I do. It's not for any reason, any ulterior motive, but I just want people to succeed, especially those from the immigrant community. I'm not discriminating in any way, because when people leave their country to come to a country like Canada to start all over again, and they don't understand the financial system, time goes by so fast. And it's a big challenge, because by the time you look at it, you look at you, 4 years, 19. It felt like yesterday you came into the industry, but it's 4 years now. And before you know it, it's another 4 years. And you're wondering, what have I achieved these last 4 years? And that's how it is. And that's why I love what you said about clarity. Without clarity, people would not know what to do. They won't know what to take, the next steps to take. And this is why I want to say thank you, Rory, for that question. But just a reminder, nothing works without somebody at work. So if you got value from this interview, make sure you like, share, and follow, and stay tuned for the next conversation. We're here to blow your mind. Thank you so much, Rory. It's really exciting to have you here. My name is Ajiri Alibo, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, brother. That was amazing.
Thank you so much, Rory. I really, really, really appreciate your being here today. It's really mind blowing. Thank you so, so very